Welcome back. And this morning, there's growing frustration in Israel as Hamas terrorists once again refuse to hand over any list of hostages to be set free as Trump's warning inches closer. Listen.
I'll be very available on January 20th, and we'll see. As you know, I gave warning that if these hostages aren't back home by that date, all hell's going to break out.
Yeah, Jim Hansen ran counterterrorism operations in the Army Special Forces, and he joins us now. Good morning. Obviously, thank you for your service. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. When we hear all hell is going to break out over what's happening in Israel, in Gaza, is that a threat that could actually cause change, or are we going to have to find out what that threat means?
I think Hamas is going to find out that the Biden administration has been really slow rolling everything Israel has tried to do in their response to the horrific acts of October 7th by Hamas and the ongoing, keeping hostages as a negotiating tool. So while Gaza has been fairly well devastated, the Israelis have done considerably less than they're capable of because they needed our assistance. So I think when President Trump says something like that, as you pointed out earlier in the show, posturing matters. When the leaders of Hamas hear that that's a possibility, they're more likely to make terms that are actually acceptable to the Israeli people.
Yeah, when we talk about the main, I guess, linchpin right now, the hanging point is this idea that they could get a list of hostages to be set free. I look at this and say it kind of looks like Hamas has the upper hand because Israel, Netanyahu, through their own people, they're so desperate to get names to find out who may be alive, who may be, may have an opportunity to come back home. It's almost like you're so hanging on to hope as far as the Israeli people go that Hamas has more of a bargaining chip there. But on the other side, that's the only bargaining chip they have.
They've got no capabilities left. What they have is that belief, and Israel has shown over the years that they will go to extraordinary lengths to secure the release of prisoners or hostages, or sadly, to get their bodies back if they've already been killed.
Yeah.
And they don't know specifically and definitively who's alive and who's dead. So this war has been dragging on for a long time because of that, desire by the Israelis to get their people back. And I think Netanyahu's under tremendous pressure, domestically, to do whatever he can to get any remaining living hostages home. I think they'll make some sort of deal. And at the point where they find out who's alive and who's dead, President Trump's words may come into play, and there's hell to play for whoever's left in the Hamas leadership.
One topic that's touching every conflict around the world, to include the Middle East, is drone warfare. It's not just the war of the future. It is the current arms race we're in. And there's no better way to explain how much we don't understand than to talk about what's happened in New Jersey. So we're being told now that President Biden called the Pentagon on 4 separate occasions and was told by the military that they had found nothing unusual, which is concerning to say the least, considering the timeline of events and how there has been no information come out. What do you make of, one, the president having to call the Pentagon and to do it 4 times and to really get a non-answer from them?
Yeah, this is driving, I think, the entire country crazy. At some level, there are drones flying around New Jersey. Whose they are they domestic, U.S. government, state, local law enforcement, maybe federal, law enforcement, surveillance, intelligence, or is it some sort of, external state power? I think that's less likely just because of the provocation level and what it takes to go ahead and do that. It would be a very edging towards a warlike act. But what the problem in my mind that's even worse than that, we have a legitimate fear of drone warfare. Nobody now can trust our government to tell us the truth. I don't think anybody believes that we're getting straight answers. And even Biden or whoever is operating the Biden puppet at this point believes the answers they're getting. And so no one can give a definitive answer to the American people about what's happening inside our own country. That's kind of horrifying at a level above even the drone, technology.
No, that's a great point. I mean, the same man who sat there and told us the border was closed, the same people who told us that the spy balloon couldn't transmit, are telling us that these drones are no big deal. It kind of makes you believe the opposite. Jim Hansen, thank you for your service, and thanks for joining this morning. I appreciate your expertise.
Good to be with you, Joey.
Yes, sir.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.